Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about my favourite characters in novels. There may be a couple of spoilers, nothing too major, just a couple of points as to why I like the characters, but nothing, like I say, that'll give the whole plot away of the book and make it completely ruined for you. First thing I'm going to talk about are the standalone novels, and the first one is Just Listen by Sarah Dessen, and in this book I'm going to talk about Owen. Why I like Owen so much is because of his obsession with music, because I can relate to it myself. He uses it as like his outlet because he's got a bad reputation and a bad family home, and it's the one place where he can just relax and be himself, and he can just lose himself in the music. And I can relate to that a lot because that's kind of, I'm not saying I've got like a really bad reputation or anything, but I can definitely lose myself in the music and forget about any problems. Music will instantly cheer me up. And he has his own radio station, and I'm a DJ, so again I understand that feeling of playing music to the masses, and when someone's enjoying it, the buzz it gives you. So that's why I like Owen. Then the next book I'm going to move on to is After Obsession by Carrie Jones and Stephen E. Weedle, and in this book it's Alan that I really like. One of the things that initially made me think ooh about him is that he is a metalhead, and you don't really get that a lot in young adult novels. Usually they're quite a pretty boy or quite mysterious, but he was like quite an obvious metalhead, like he told you about the kind of stuff he was into, and so I liked that. But what I really liked about him was the fact that he was Native American and he embraced his race, but he got a lot of stick for it, and he still defended it. And it kind of had that issue of being in school and being the only kid that's not white or not black or not Chinese or what, you know, the one kid that's the odd race. And he really like took control of that situation, and he wasn't going to get bullied just because he was darker than the rest of the people in school. And I liked that about him, and the fact that he was a very protective person as well over his family members and of his love interest in this book. So that's Alan. And then the last book in the standalones, even though technically it might not be a standalone, I'm counting it as one, is Perfect Chemistry by Simone Alcalez, and I'm going for Alex. Because, again, kind of the same reasons. He is a bad boy and he's in a gang, and again he's kind of got the race issues going on as well, and he overcomes all these problems, he protects his family, and he was a very real character. Like, he was very rude and rash, and he would just jump into these stupid situations just because he thought it was the right thing to do and that he wanted to protect the people around him. And the fact that we knew about what was going on in his mind, not just Brittany's mind. And I actually preferred reading the book when it was Alex chapters. I just found him a lot more of an interesting character than her. Then we're moving on. I've got two series that I'm going to mention. The first one is Generation Dead by Daniel Waters. I've got these. And the character is Karen. Karen is a zombie girl living in a alive people world. And she manages to fool everyone into thinking she's just an ordinary teenage alive girl, because she is a zombie but she doesn't look like one. Like, she's somehow managed to be able to look very alive, apart from the fact that she's very pale, but I'm very pale and I'm definitely alive. And she can talk and move, she doesn't have any problems, she doesn't have like any like disfigured limbs or anything, and she fits in, and she's playing this part as a normal teenage girl when really she's a zombie. And throughout the last book, Passing Strange, which is told from her point of view, she develops into a much more confident character, and she no longer struggles with the fact that she is acting to be a normal human girl, and she just embraces the fact that she's a zombie, and she lets people know that she's undead. And I just think that it's a great development, and I think that Karen is a really relatable character just for someone who is struggling to find who they are, not just the fact that she's acting completely different. So that's that. Then the last series I want to mention is of course, my favourite series of all time, the Wicked Lovely series by Melissa Marr. I have quite a few characters in this that I want to talk about. First things first, I absolutely adore the Dark Kings, both of them. I love their relationship. I love that they've been through a big fallout. They've been from being absolutely inseparable, and they've still managed to come out in a great place by the end of it. Neil and Ariel, I should have probably mentioned their names. And they, in the beginning of the books, Ariel is the Dark King, and he takes a retirement, I guess, from the role and passes it on to Neil, and he then takes over. And it's from that point when I started to like him as a character, because in the beginning of the books he isn't actually in the Dark Court and he's not being himself. But they've definitely got an amazing relationship. They're the best of friends after everything. They're both very strong, dedicated to their courts, and they know when it's time to kick some ass, basically. They know they're not going to let people mess with them. No one's messing with the Dark Court when these two guys are in charge. And that's what I like about them, just basically the fact that they're strong characters with an amazing relationship, and they even like end up falling for the same girl, but it doesn't ruin their friendship. If anything, it makes it stronger. Then the next one I'm going to talk about is Donia, and she starts off as a winter girl, so she's a winter fae, and then by the end of the series she is the queen of the Winter Court, and she is another one of those characters that just comes into her own throughout the series. She struggles with her love interest, as it's hard for them to be together, and there's people in the way, and she ends up doing some pretty rash things, but she develops and becomes again another confident character by the end of it, and she wins over the entire Winter Court with barely any effort, because she's just made for the role of queen and they know it, and that's what I like about her. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was the best relationship, as in romantic relationship in these books, which is Annie and Devlin. Annie is a halfling, she's half human, half fae, and Devlin is the High Court Queen's second in command, and he basically is her bloodied hands, as they describe him. He basically does all the dirty work for her. He was very much under her control. He never betrayed her or anything until he met Annie, and they just have an underdog relationship, and they end up having their own court together, and it's like one of those struggling relationships that you're like, please let these two have the best ending, and they probably have the happiest ending, and I like that. I really rooted for those guys, and they were like I said, they were the underdogs, and it was like a surprise that they ended up being such prominent characters by the end of it. So that's them. Then I have a couple of honourable mentions. I'm not going to really explain anything about them, because I've not actually read all the books in which these characters appear. So I'll just quickly go through it. Is Mercy from Mercy by Rebecca Lim, Lend from Paranormalcy by Kirsten White, Alex from Ashes by Ilsa J. Bick, Waverley from Glow by Amy Kathleen Ryan, and Perry from Under the Never Sky by Veronica Rossi. Hopefully I'll still absolutely adore these characters by the time I finish those series, but I'm only like part of the way through each one. So that's all my favourite characters for now anyways, it could change. Thanks for watching, bye!